She came in late on a Tuesday, dropped her keys on the counter like a judge with a gavel, and walked to the fridge without looking at me. No hello. No how was your day? Just, it's a mess at the office. Deadlines. The tone was too smooth, like she'd practiced it in the car. I asked what kind of mess. She waved it off, popped a can of sparkling water, and started talking about a coworker's puppy. That pivot, too fast. It wasn't just the words. It was how her eyes never settled, and her voice slid around details like they were potholes. My mind filed it under pattern watch. All right, I told her. If it's that bad, we adjust. I kept my voice even. She gave me a thin smile like I'd passed a small test. If I'd known where it was headed, I'd have poured myself something hard and saved the calendar app the trouble. Next night, she texted at 7:18. Don't wait up, still at the office. I plated dinner alone, wrapped her portion, and set it in the fridge. When she came in after 10, the smile was photocopied. Chaos, she said. Then she changed the subject to a neighbor's lawn drama and laughed a little too loud. It sounded like a door closing in my face. I started listening the way you listen to a new engine. Every rattle means something. The rattles kept coming. You weren't at the HOA barbecue list meeting. I mentioned Thursday morning, buttering toast. Babe, I'm drowning, she said. My boss expects miracles. What miracles? Timelines. Budgets. You wouldn't get it. It wasn't mean. It was dismissive. I get numbers, I replied. I get plans. Can we not do this? She pushed her chair back. I'm late. Clear, I said, and watched her walk out with that smile people use when they don't want to discuss the bill. By Saturday, the distance had weight. She floated around me like we were in different rooms of the same apartment. No morning coffee together. No eye contact that stuck. I caught her texting, screen tilted away. I wasn't digging. I was observing. The more she said, work, the less believable it sounded. Sunday night, I asked straight. What's the real load? She kept rinsing a glass. Why do you say it like that? Because you're playing short answers, and I'm not your intern. I'm exhausted. Can you not interrogate me? She didn't wait for an answer. What are we doing about the garage shelves? We can do them next weekend, I replied. If I even have a weekend, she muttered. Let's drop it. I watched the water run too long into an empty glass and decided I wouldn't be guessing much longer. Monday became my first adjustment. I moved my schedule forward, took a late lunch, and when her text came at 6:52, running late, I replied, got it. No complaint. No debate. Then I set a rule for myself. I won't chase in the dark. I won't sit in a holding pattern at home like an unpaid driver. If she's out, I'm out too. Not to mirror, not to punish, just to reclaim my own time. That night, I met my neighbor Gabe on the sidewalk. Retired firefighter, straight talk, always on his porch by 7 with a glass of iced tea. He squinted at me. You look like a man waiting on someone who forgot she has a house, he said. I look like a man who changed his plans, I answered. You need a hand? Not yet. He nodded like he heard more than I said. When she rolled in at 9, there was a little extra act in her step, like she was playing the role of busy professional for an invisible camera. I was on the couch with a repair manual open. You ate? She asked. I did. You didn't wait? I don't do waiting lists at home. She faked a laugh. Wow. Dramatic. Or efficient. She stood there a beat. Can you not make this about you? I'm carrying a lot right now. I'm carrying my end. That's plenty. She turned away. I'm showering. Good call. The next evening shifted it from cold to snide. We were at Gabe's cookout. Nothing fancy. Backyard. Folding chairs. Those metal trays with burgers. She arrived late, kissed the air next to my face, and started chatting with Tasha, his wife. At one point, she told the circle, he needs everything on a schedule, like a staff meeting. People chuckled. It landed like a jab. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't crack a joke back. I put my plate down and spoke so only our table heard. We schedule things here so no one gets taken for granted. You want my time, you book it. I'm not a piece of furniture. Tasha glanced between us, eyes big. Gabe sipped his tea and kept his mouth shut. My wife's smile went brittle. Okay, she said. Relax. I am relaxed, I answered. And that's the rule. I held her stare long enough for it to register that I meant it. The air shifted. She rolled her eyes, but didn't try me again there. I'd drawn a line in public, not to embarrass her, just to make it real. As we walked home, she sped up half a step. You love making me look bad, she complained. I love clarity, I said. Keeps grown-ups honest. You're calling me a liar? I'm saying I'm done with fog. She exhaled. This is ridiculous. What's ridiculous is not knowing if my wife has dinner plans with her husband, I replied. I'm tired, she said. Can we not fight? Stop calling clarity a fight, I told her, and let the silence ride us up the driveway. That night I made a move. I sleep light when something's wrong. That's not drama, it's maintenance. I pulled the spare blankets from the hall closet and set up in the guest room. She found me there in the morning, holding my boots by the laces. You're seriously doing this? She asked. I'm not making noise at 1 a.m. when you come in, I said. We're adults. We adapt. Overreacting, she tossed out. Overreacting would be checking your phone, I said. I'm not doing that. I'm simply matching the new season. She stood in the doorway a second too long, then pivoted to a soft face. I'm sorry I've been snappy, she offered, quieter. It's just the lot at work. I know you're being patient. Patient, yes, I answered. Not blind. Let me make dinner tomorrow, she said. No late nights. Promise. That was the first gentle shift, the olive branch after a public boundary. I didn't melt. I nodded and kissed her cheek, light. I'll be home at 6, I said. The next evening, she texted at 5:30, running 20 behind. Don't start without me. I didn't reply. At 6:45 she came in with groceries and a voice too cheerful. She made chicken and a quick salad, kept it breezy, asked about my day. It felt like she was patching drywall. I let it be. I didn't hang a picture on it. Wednesday, she worked late again. That's when I moved from rules to evidence. I packed a hot meal in a bag, nothing showy, just food she liked, and drove to her office building. The lot was half empty. The lobby lights were on motion sensors. The front door was locked. I checked the nameplate directory, looked at the dark floor with her department sign, and stood there with a bag of dinner cooling down and a keycard reader blinking red. A security guard stepped from the back. White hair, bored eyes, a crossword tucked under his arm. Can I help you? Dropping dinner for my wife, I said, pointing up. Which floor? 4th. Accounting. He glanced at his monitor. They close at 6 on weekdays. Even for overtime? Building closes at 6, he repeated. Management's been tight on it since spring. There it was. No yelling required. Just a locked door and a man with a crossword. I thanked him, went back to my truck, and ate the dinner myself in the cab with the window cracked. I don't enjoy being right in moments like that. It's a quiet loss. But it ends the guessing. She texted at 9:05. We're crashing. Don't wait up. I watched the dot. Typing, not typing, then nothing. I didn't answer. I didn't confront. I adjusted again. Thursday, I took the day, not to rage, to pay attention. I left before she did. Parked by the coffee place across from her office and watched the morning flow. She came in at 8:44, went up alone. From noon to 1, she never exited. At 4:30, I saw him, the boss I'd heard about. Mid-50s, expensive shoes, the kind of walk that says he doesn't wait in lines. He stood by the curb and texted. My wife came down at 5:12 with her tote, and that smile again. They talked too close for a minute, then walked to his car. I could have followed close. I didn't. I let 3 vehicles slide between us. They went to a restaurant on the river, white tablecloths, chandeliers you notice even when you don't care. I parked down the block and chose a seat at the bar with a view through the dining room glass. A bartender with a sleeve tattoo asked what I wanted. Club soda with lime, I said. You celebrating or punishing yourself? He asked. Dry, not mocking. Information, I answered. They were 2 tables in from the window. No touching. No obvious theater. But the way she leaned in, the way he angled toward her, the faces they made. The kind of intimacy people claim is harmless because there's no hand on a knee. I didn't take pictures there. I wasn't here to build a scrapbook. I was here to shut down denial. At 7:50 they left. I settled up, used the alley, and reached my truck. They drove across town to a townhouse. He clicked the garage pad. They went inside. The garage closed. My camera did the only work it needed to do. One shot of them walking into the side door together, her carrying nothing but her tote, him touching the keypad with the comfort of routine. I wasn't curious about the rest. The photo was enough. She texted at 8:26. Late again, sorry. Sandra's making me stay. We're buried. I put my phone face down and waited. Not for her. For my own pulse to flatten. My decision didn't need a speech. Next morning, I went to the county website, filed the paperwork, and arranged the logistics I could do quietly. I opened a new checking account and moved my direct deposit. I canceled the automatic payments that involved both of us and set them to my new setup. I inventoried the house and listed what was mine, what was hers, what was replaceable, and what was sentimental. I put my title folder in a safe place. I wasn't hiding. I was making sure no one else could hide from consequences. That evening, she did her second soft landing. She came home at 6 on the dot with takeout from the place we used to hit on Saturdays and a smile that belonged in a commercial. "Truce," she announced. "No work talk. Let's do a movie." "All right," I said. I ate. I let the quiet hover. Halfway through a comedy we'd both seen twice, she reached for my hand like we were back in year 2. I didn't pull away. I also didn't forget the photo on my phone. The whole time, she was studying my face like she was trying to see if I'd noticed anything she wished I hadn't. "Want me to run to the store for ice cream?" she offered later, unusually helpful. "I'm good," I said. "Long day tomorrow." "What's tomorrow?" she asked. "I'm helping Mark at the shop," I replied. She nodded with a face that said she'd forgotten Mark existed. We went to bed in separate rooms like civilized strangers. Saturday morning, I was at Mark's garage, 2 lifts, a radio that only plays classic rock, and enough tools to fix a helicopter. Mark's an old friend, runs a detail business out of the back, talks like every sentence is a verdict. "You look like a man who decided something," he said, wiping his hands on a rag. "I did," I answered. "You want me to ask what?" "No." He nodded, respecting the line. "You working on the Chevelle or playing with my sockets all day?" "Chevelle," I said. "Pull the carb." We were under the hood when she showed up around noon with a bag of sandwiches like she was a supportive spouse in a commercial. She didn't do Saturdays at the garage. Ever. She walked in like cameras were on her. "Hey there," she sang. "Thought you might be hungry." Mark glanced at me, raised an eyebrow, then looked back at the engine. He didn't say a word. "Appreciate it," I told her. "We're busy." She put a hand on my arm. "Can we talk later? I think we've both been tense." "We can talk on the calendar," I answered, not mean, not smiling. She swallowed and turned to Mark like he might save her. "How long's this going to take?" "Till I say it's done," he said without looking up. She left the sandwiches, gave me a half hug, and went. Mark slid me a look. "She out to fix something or make sure you don't?" he asked. "Both," I said. He grunted. "You good?" "I'm clean," I answered. Process is the process. That afternoon, I finished the carb and texted her a simple update. "Home by 5. She replied a heart emoji, which wasn't her style. Adaptation or act didn't matter. My plan didn't need her participation. The next week was theater. She woke early to make coffee, kissed my cheek, asked about the calendar, and cooked on Tuesday. Midweek, she left me a note on the fridge. "Thank you for being patient with me." The handwriting was tidy. The sentence was smooth. The effect was 0. Thursday, I came home to candles and a roast. She looked pleased with herself. "Surprise," she said. "I took a half day. Let's reset." "Smells good," I told her. I ate. I stacked my plate in the dishwasher and checked the time. She was watching me like a poker player watching a tell. "You going to the shop this weekend again?" she asked. "I am." "Well, I'm doing a girls' night Friday," she announced casual. "We might stay over. Wine, gossip. You know how it gets." Right there, my last scene wrote itself. "Have a blast," I replied and left it standing. No lecture. No trap. Just a note to myself. This is where the curtain drops. Friday at 4:38, she texted, "Don't wait. Heading to the girls after work. Might be late. She added a winky face like this was cute. I answered, "Hope you and your boss have a great time." It took 30 seconds. "What are you talking about?" she shot back. I didn't reply. Instead, I moved. Calm is power. Logistics are law. I pulled her suitcases from the closet and packed the things that were clearly hers. Clothes, shoes, cosmetics, the hair dryer I always tripped over, the stack of magazines she swore she'd read. I put the cases by the front door. On top, I placed a large envelope. Inside, the filed paperwork, copies, and 3 photos. One of the office door with the locked sign and timestamp. One of her with him leaving the restaurant. One of them entering his place together. No dramatic captions. Just facts and silence. I changed the code on the garage keypad and the Wi-Fi. I put her house key on a ring with a sticky note. For the movers. I set my spare bedroom in order like a man who knew he'd be sleeping well. At 6:10, Gabe knocked. He doesn't hover. He respects lines. But he also notices luggage. You need a witness? He asked, eyes on the door. No screaming match, I said. Just a hand if it gets theatrical. He took a chair on his porch, visible but not nosy. I sat in the living room and let the quiet be. At 7:05, my phone buzzed. Why would you text that? She wrote. Then, call me. Then, stop being weird. At 7:50, headlights swam across the living room. The engine idled in the driveway longer than necessary. The doorbell rang 3 times, fast. Then her fist hit the door. Open. Up. Not a request. The voice of someone used to doors obeying. I opened. She stood there with a face full of outrage and surprise, the kind of mix you only see when someone finds a mirror they didn't expect. What is this? She pointed at the bags. Then her eyes dropped to the envelope. She didn't pick it up yet. She looked back at me. Explain. Everything you need is right here, I told her. Take your things and go. You don't live here anymore. You're insane, she shot back. Over a text? Over being busy. I tilted my head. Open the envelope. She did. The color left her face in stages. You followed me? She asked, like the problem was surveillance and not the scene inside the pictures. I followed the truth, I answered. That's not what it looks like, she started. It's exactly what it looks like, I cut in. I'm not interested in speeches. She flashed rage, then turned soft in a blink. Wait, let's talk. I messed up the communication. That's on me. I should have told you more. I got carried away with work and dinner at a riverfront place, I added, and a townhouse with a keypad. Her eyes darted to Gabe's porch. Then back to me. Can you not do this out here? You used public space when you mocked me at a cookout, I said. This is the counterweight. Calm, clean, final. I can explain, she tried again, tears on a timer. I'm not an investigator and this isn't a debate, I replied. You made choices. So did I. She hardened again. You're just trying to feel powerful. I already am, I said. Because I'm done. You're throwing away years, she hissed. No, I corrected. I'm not throwing. I'm letting go of the rope you cut. You can't just kick me out, she said. I have nowhere to go. You have options, I told her. Take your things. Leave the key. I'm not leaving until we talk, she insisted. You are leaving, I answered, and stepped aside, pointing at the luggage. Now. She looked past me into the living room like maybe there'd be a prop she could use. There wasn't. She grabbed the handle of the first suitcase with a vicious jerk, like she was punishing the zipper. She threw the envelope back at me, missed, and it slid across the hardwood. She yanked the second bag into the dark. Everyone will hear about this, she snapped. They already hear enough, I said, glancing toward Gabe without shame. What they'll see is a man who refuses to be disrespected in his own house. She opened her mouth for another volley, then closed it. She stood there breathing like the air had rules now. I let the silence be the rule. Last word, she asked Adair. 2, I replied. We're done. I closed the door. No slam. Just finality. Outside, wheels rolled on concrete. A trunk thumped, and an engine moved away. I picked up the envelope, put it back on the table for my records, and sat. My hands were steady. That's how I knew I'd done it right. For the next week, the logistics were boring, which is how you want your life to be after a storm. The paperwork moved faster than I expected. I kept the house, the savings I'd built, the gear in the garage, and the account I used for my business. She got the sedan because I needed clean lines, and it made sense on paper. I can't say she deserved even that, but I don't do spite math. She tried a few calls. I didn't answer. She sent a couple of long messages that swung from sorry to blaming to nostalgic. I archived them without opening. Patience is noble. Boundaries are healthy. I chose healthy. News about her job circulated without me trying. The company trimmed noise to avoid headlines. She wasn't on the roster after that. Not my doing. I didn't dance on it. I just observed what the world does when people treat rules like suggestions. A month later, she reached out about the car. I need to sell, she texted. You always loved it. Want it back? I did. That car had weekends in it. Memories that were mine before and after her. We met at a coffee place to sign the title. She looked tired in a way makeup can't solve. She named a price lower than fair. I paid cash and didn't bargain. Only good thing she did at the end. How are you? She asked, trying for neutral. Busy, I said. With what? Living, I answered, and left with the keys. I didn't do a victory lap. I changed my locks, painted the guest room, and fixed the squeak at the back door that had annoyed me for 2 years. I worked more at Mark's and picked up extra clients who came through the garage and liked the way I don't oversell. On Saturdays, I drove the car through the canyon road just to hear the engine breathe like it was built to breathe. Life filled in. I bought a small place closer to the shop, a clean one-story with a yard I could mow in 20 minutes and a porch that faced the sunset. Gabe swung by with a toolbox and a joke about me finally choosing a house without creaky stairs. Mark came over with steaks and a grill I assembled in 20 minutes. No brand label necessary. We ate, talked torque and taxes, and laughed at the kind of jokes older men tell when they've seen enough to know what matters. I met someone, but that's not a dramatic story. We bumped into each other at the hardware store reaching for the same box of screws. Grown up, direct. No games. She listens without running, talks without sparring, shows up when she says she will. We take it slow because I enjoy slow now. Monday to Friday, I work. Saturday mornings, I drive. Sunday afternoons, we sit on the porch with coffee and decide nothing. As for my former spouse, I don't keep a file. I heard through the grapevine she's between gigs and living in a smaller place than she imagined for herself. The world can be fair in boring ways. That's enough. People ask if I miss the old life. I miss the parts where respect sat at the table. The rest can stay gone. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't break anything. I shifted my time to people and projects that pay me back with peace. The last thing I told her is still the last thing. We're done. And I meant it. If there's a lesson, it's not romantic. It's logistical. Watch the patterns. Set rules out loud. When the truth shows up, don't shout at it. Act. Put the bags by the door.